Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you? I pray you're well. Today I need to talk to you about marriage in a way no one has ever spoken to you. And as a person educating and coaching women for 25 years, I've been getting some messages from many of you lately that have seriously broken my heart. I'm hearing women in their late 20s, sometimes even late 30s saying, I don't know if marriage is for me. I'm not sure I want to get married anymore. Or maybe I'm just not meant to be married. Maybe I'm never going to find anyone. I'm so scared of being alone, but I just can't do it. And that's not just a few isolated cases. According to recent studies, marriage rates among Muslim women in the West has dropped by nearly 40% in the last decade. And the average age of first marriage has increased from up to 27 to 29. And perhaps the most shocking of all is that 60% of Muslim women are reporting feeling marriage is not a viable option yet. But why? Why, when in the prime years of our life, when we're usually starting families, having children, getting everything going, is marriage not even on the table? Is it not just because they're busy getting educated and having their life? Is it something deeper? Yes, oftentimes it is. Today I'm going to share the real reason that Muslims are deciding not to get married, and some of these might surprise you or hit you right in the heart because you didn't realize that was you. Because it's not what scholars are saying online or what an auntie is saying at a wedding that you attended that you wish everyone would leave you alone about if you're getting married anytime soon. The truth is deeper. It's more complex. And frankly, heartbreaking. Nobody wants to admit it. So by the end of this episode, what you are going to get is the one thing that's changing everything for women. To actually find marriages, beautiful marriages, that they can get married and stay married. So grab your cup of coffee or tea, whatever it is for you. Find a quiet space and let's dive in together. Let's go.
Welcome to the Mindful Muslimah Speaks podcast, a safe space to learn and grow into the best version of yourself that you're always meant to be. I'm your host, Mindful Muslimah, a mom of 5, big sister to the community, and a licensed educator with 25 plus years in supporting tens of thousands of Muslim women worldwide. Now, I'm excited to share a ton of solutions to your problems on love, relationships, life balance, reconnecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, getting back on track, and more. So grab a cup of coffee and close out those tabs. These next 20 to 30 minutes are all about you. Let's get started.
Now, if you ask people why Muslims aren't getting married, you're usually going to hear the typical response. Women are too picky, they're too focused on their careers, maybe they have unrealistic expectations because they're watching too many Bollywood, Hollywood, Korean drama movies. But sis, let me tell you something. I've coached thousands of women, and these answers are totally surface level responses that miss the mark completely. Yes, women now might be doing more education. Yes, now more than ever, women might be going to universities other than our Islamic history past. Yes, I know. Yes, they have more career and ambition. But you know what? Our grandmothers wanted love and respect too. Our mothers wanted to feel loved and cherished too. The difference is Muslim women have real concerns or are no longer willing to settle for anything less than what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intended marriage to be. And this, sister, is not a character flaw. It's growth. All right, the fear epidemic. But let me show you something I'm seeing in the work that I've been doing. There is a definite fear epidemic among Muslim women when they are thinking of getting married. This anxiety, this overwhelm. And if you're dealing with marriage right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's something we need to address honestly. So let's do that. Number 1, the fear of losing yourself. Yes, it's a real thing. And you're probably thinking about it. I get married to this guy, and all of a sudden, I'm not the same person I used to be, and I have to become this different person to take care of him and meet all his needs, and I don't even know who I am anymore. It isn't just about being a wife. It's about being afraid to disappear into a marriage, only to emerge years later, not even recognizing yourself. That's a real fear a lot of our women are having. Number 2, fear of becoming another marriage horror story. I'm sorry, our communities have a lot going on in them. They do. We show up at the mosque, we smile, right? We go on social media, we look a certain way, but in our homes, there's a lot going on. I know because you guys call me on consultation calls. I deal with this for 20 something years. So there's a lot going on under the surface. And a lot of women have real fears of ending up like their auntie, like their mom, like their cousin, like these other things I've heard that women share in circles, secret circles, about what's happened to them. And they are like, ooh, I don't want that to happen to me. Number 3, fear of marrying somebody who wears a mask. It might surprise you, but I hear it often. Is he putting an act on during the get to know you period? What if he's not really religious? What if he doesn't really pray? What if he secretly has an addiction, like pornography addiction or anger problems. These are real things that no one is talking about, that women are calling me about, that their husbands have once they're in marriage and don't know how to help them and don't know what to do, and all types of other addictions or things. And so a lot of women are seeing that happen, and they're afraid that they're going to get one guy in the get to know you period, and then when they're married, they're going to unravel or unwrap an entirely different guy. Valid concerns, right? Okay, this is called Islamic perspective on marriage. Now, let's pause here to remember what the Quran tells us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, and among his signs is that he created you from spouses from amongst yourselves so that you may find tranquility in them, and he placed between you love and mercy, right? So marriage is supposed to be tranquility, guys. It's not supposed to be an anxiety-inducing attack. It's supposed to be of love, mawadda, mercy, rahmah. And the Prophet, peace be upon him, he reminded us that this world is a temporary provision. And the best of that is to have a righteous spouse, right? So he didn't say quiet, obedient. Like, these are things that we inject in our cultures that it's not even from our deen. And our women are afraid because they've heard it too many times from their fathers, their uncles. This Islam that has been changed or twisted to suit whoever's need at the moment. And I'm not saying women never do it either. Women do some things too. But the truth of the matter is women are afraid. There's tons of fear. But they're also witnessing, to be fair, marriages in their homes that aren't ideal. They saw what their mom and dad went through. And either their mom was incredibly strong and she kind of like overpowered her dad, and her dad just kind of followed along and she wished her dad had stood up and done something, or the opposite, that the dad was more overpowering and the mom kind of stayed quiet and didn't want to rock the boat. But like they wished that the mom would have stood up for them in their home. These are real things that happen in our childhoods. I'm sure you can relate. This section is called the modern Muslim woman's dilemma. But let me paint you a picture of the modern Muslim woman's dilemma, because it's really, really critical to understand. She's 28 years old. She has a master's degree. She's finally independent in some way. She prays her 5 prayers. She gives her zakat. She fasts in Ramadan. Maybe she even volunteers at the masjid. She's looking for a partner who will be her companion on the path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Someone who will appreciate her mind, support her growth, and build a family with her based on the sunnah. That's not a lot to ask for. That's what they still want. But what do women encounter in the marriage market, pray tell? It's a lot. The brother who wants the traditional wife, right? They come from their same culture, wants the traditional wife. But to find someone as cooking, bearing children, like that age-old thing where like that's all that's focused on, not the woman's internal spiritual level. There's a lot of biodata going on, very specific, especially for certain cultures. Not all, like I'm talking to a certain specific group of people here, who I'm talking to. Fair skin, height such, weight such, and all these just really superficial markers that have nothing to do with her ability to be a good mom, to be a good wife, about her level of deen with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And these are the things the mothers, a lot of times, are pressing on our women that you should have, and they come in the biodata with the guys on these WhatsApp groups. If you're from this population, you know what I'm talking about. It is so ridiculous. And then even the women that just want to have a good, healthy relationship, they can't even get through the basic markers because they're so ridiculous, right? Or maybe like they find a guy who, in some type of an app, they are just having these huge expectations of what she needs to be able to do. And his side, she doesn't feel like he's pulling his weight on his side. Or maybe he even, God forbid, ask her to do 50-50 in paying, because we're seeing that still. Right? Or maybe he's just got some stuff and he's not really sharing. And she's like, I need to pull this out of him. I don't really understand who he is. I don't feel fully safe. Is that strange for me not to feel like he hasn't shown me anything? He hasn't introduced me. And then I'm like, why are you talking to him alone anyway? It's a dilemma. Or the brother who wants an educated wife, but he kind of feels threatened if his wife has a higher education or status or makes more money. It's a real thing. I know, because he wants to feel like he's needed. He wants to provide. Totally get it. And this is not about bashing any brothers, because us women, we have our own. And I'm sure, guys, you're going to let us know in the comments, because that's what you're good at. It's good. We appreciate it because we want to know what you're thinking. It helps us a lot too. But there's actually, honestly, just such a disconnect between Muslim men and women getting married today, both sides. Now, let's throw in the family pressure paradox. That's what this part is called, guys, family. From one side, you see, beta or habibti, you're getting too old. When are you going to get married? Stop being too picky, right? You hear all of that from the aunties and the grandmas and maybe your own mom, right? What will people say? Your sister's already married. Your cousin already got married last week. You're older than her. You should have gotten married first. Like, we all hear these things in the community. But from the other side, right? Make sure he's from a good family. Make sure he earns well. Make sure he's religious. Make sure he's tall, he's fair, he's this, he's that. Make sure. And then when you try to bring different guys, it might be like, well, he's not from our background, but look at his age. Oh, he was previously married. Married. There's so much criticism about who this guy is. But again, going back to these superficial markers, not always the best things. My question, ladies, is, are you aligned with your parents on what you're looking for? The majority of you are not. It's stressing you out. And the fact of the matter is your parents are just saying all kinds of things, and you don't feel sometimes all the time that you can approach them. Sometimes one parent over the other, yeah, I get it. The mom might be more approachable and the dad is not. So then I also see this dilemma of women leaving their fathers out of the process. He's the wali. I know, but he hasn't been involved. Or he said, hands off, I don't want to deal with it. If you're not marrying your cousin, I want nothing to do with it. Well, first of all, the fathers are wrong to do that. And I'm seeing a lot of wrong from the fathers. And I say that as a parent. It's not a male-female thing. As a parent, we should never put our kids in the position where they can't get married in a halal way because of our emotional drama, right? And sisters, I'm going to tell you this honestly, because a lot of women in our coaching programs, they come with this problem. If you have a father who is not participating with you or not helping you, supporting you, whether he's actually in the home or your parents are divorced, you need to speak to a sheikh. This is a real thing. You cannot just go figure it out on your own, go online your own, and then tell him at the end, or work it out with your mom. Walis are not females. That's not how Islam works. But I know it's unfair to you. And I know you have these fears, this huge paradox in your family, these pressures or this abandonment that you get sometimes from one side or the other. I know. I'm here to talk if you need me, right? We have a website, guys, by the way, if you ever want to reach out to us, www.mindful-muslimah.com. We have consultation calls. But I say this to say, you're not alone, and too many women are going through that right now, but you do have to get it sorted. Then let's talk about the social media illusion. This is not helping our women get married. And I mean, let's go right for the elephant in the room, social media, and its impact on marriage expectations. Yes, maybe you don't realize, but it's happening. Sister, we're the first generation trying to navigate marriage while being constantly bombarded with pictures of what it should look like, feel like, the whole experience. We didn't have that back before when social media wasn't like that. We just had a marriage, thought it was enough, and that was it. It wasn't this intense expectation like it is now. Highlights and reels of other people and their relationships and checking them out all day. Like, it's a lot. You're dealing with a lot, and it's not easy. I know. But what we don't see on those reels, and I know you know it's true, are the arguments, the really bad arguments, either between you and the guy where you're trying to get married, or you and the family, like those people that are going through that. Like, you don't get to see those parts of what they're going through. You just see the happy stuff they decide to share and they handpick online. And I know we all know this, and I know we say this, but I want you to really get in there and understand how serious that is. The picture we're being bombarded with is highly unrealistic. And no matter what we do, we somehow compare to what we're going through to it. It just happens. We're human. But the point is that it creates this impossible standard that we just can't even meet. And that makes us feel even worse about whatever we're going through. And dare I share with you today the career and family false dichotomy. Another thing I see women doing is choosing between career and family life. Now, the majority of people that come to me in coaching, they say, I've been doing my career and, I assumed, by the end of uni, I would just end up getting married, or after I did my residency, because a lot of doctors, lawyers, teachers, all types of professional women, like super successful, who have figured out every part of their life except this one, right? They come and they're like, I assumed I would be married by now, but now I'm 33, now I'm 35, now I'm 42. I'm getting this a lot. We feel this need to choose. So let me just clear the air here, ladies. I want somebody in the comment section, or you can ping me on Instagram. You can do whatever you want. Like, send me a message, whether it's on wherever you're listening to this. My podcast, it's hard to talk to me there, so you have to go Instagram. If it is on Mindful Muslimah, YouTube, tell me in the comments, where in the Quran does it say you have to finish college before getting married? I have yet to find this line. And yet we live and die by it like it's real. Like, where is it? Where's the line? I know it's not there, but it makes sense because I need to do this and this and this. No, it doesn't. First of all, you're just making a fitna. You're making a fitna because, no offense, if you're at that age, you're going to be interested in the opposite sex, and that's okay. That's totally biologically normal, which is why Rasulullah, he didn't say to delay marriage. We're not supposed to just delay it. But we're told to delay it for these, again, superficial markers: college, status. Because if I have a degree, then when I get married, you're not on the market like a commodity. Do you understand like the things we're doing to ourselves unconsciously, or our families pressure us? I know maybe it's not you, but it's real. So imagine if you guys instead did college together, right? You could relate to each other. You could talk to each other. Or maybe you don't want to be bothered with that. Fine. Maybe you want to do it later. Fine. But once again, don't start looking when you're done with college, because people are doing that and they're not finding marriage. Women come to me 3 years, 6 years. I had one the other day, 10 years. I'm not gonna lie, my hardest was 20 years. That was a deeper problem. But 10, like this is becoming the norm. I thought I was gonna get married at least by the end of my 20s. Now it's the end of my 30s or mid 30s, and I haven't even found anyone I'd even like to get married yet. So you're not even like in the process of engagement or anything. And then mind you, then you have to, parents have to decide, do we want to let her get married 6 months from now, a year from now? Like, this is real stuff that's happening, and the delay is madness. And then women get to the point where they're like, well, now I'm older. Now when I go find guys on apps, they're just like, why are you that old? Why are you not married yet? And then they make me feel bad about it. Like, that's what I'm hearing a lot. Now, let's talk about the big reason that I see going on. Everything I shared up to this point, completely important as far as context. But I want to get to the heart of what's really happening. I told you I was going to share with you the one thing, right? Because there are 3 specific reasons I see women delaying marriage over and over again. They're at the heart of this entire thing. And I want to tell you what they are. Now I'm going to warn you, these are not surface level things I'm about to bring up. These are deep, unspoken truths that I discover when I work with women one-to-one or in groups all the time. And sis, once you hear these 3 reasons, everything will make sense. And you'll understand why some women thrive in marriages and some women avoid them altogether. And you'll understand what needs to change. Not just in individuals, but in our community as a whole. And right before I do share that, I want you just to hear about Fatima, because it's gonna all make sense when you hear this one. She's 32 years old, never been married. She's a pediatric surgeon, memorized the Quran, comes from a good family, but in all external measures, even by her own standards, she should have been married years ago. She said, everyone keeps telling me I'm too picky to lower my standards, but I know what I deserve. I know what I put forth, and I want someone who meets me there. They tell me I'm getting too old to be choosy. And she's talking like this, and she pauses. And then she said something that broke my heart. I'd rather be accountable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone than being accountable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for another man's spiritual mediocrity. And this is going to lead us into the 3 reasons. I'll explain. And I want you to hear me out, because I'm hearing these from women themselves telling me. So this is how I'm getting this information to share. The first one is, women are having such a spiritual partnership crisis. They're no longer willing to be spiritually responsible for grown men. The fact that many women are trying to find men that don't even pray, this is what I'm hearing. It's a real struggle. It's like, if you can even find one that prays, good luck. And I'm like, are we serious? This is Islam. Really? That's where we're at, guys. Guys listening to, this is what's going on. And if you're watching this and you pray, great. A lot of women are finding men online, they don't. And let me explain this, because maybe it's not what you think. In previous generations, it was okay for the woman to be the spiritual backbone, right? She held up everything. And that's still, like, understand Islamically, that's, we are supposed to be the ones that glue, that hold all the family together. Still the case, right? She'd remind her husband to pray. She'd encourage him to do this and this and this and this and this. But there became a point where it was less Islam and more cultural, where guys just started to just drop the ball, and the women had to constantly pull up everything in a way that never happened in the same way at the time of Rasulullah. Like, there was a shift at some point where it became more cultural than actually from Islam. Okay, this is a gray area that most people don't like go into. And right now what we're seeing is a lot of men not trying to learn Quran, not trying to go out there and grow and do anything, while the women are in here in classes, they're going online, all these famous things. And they're like, I'm doing this, and like, I want a guy who does that. But here's what we're hearing. Brothers who don't pray regularly, but want wives who keep them on the straight path. Men who don't read the Quran or aren't in the classes or with the sheikh or anything, but want wives who have the Quran so they could teach their kids. Men who keep skipping obligations, but they want wives who are going to keep their Islamic reputation in the community. Like, it's not happening in a balanced way anymore. And sisters are saying, I'm looking for a spiritual partner, not a spiritual project. Okay, reason number 2, the emotional maturity deficit. There is a massive gap between the emotional maturity of the men and the women in the Muslim community today. And we're seeing it really hard, because when I go to coach women, a lot of them say, I want a guy who's emotionally inept. He can actually have conversations. He can understand what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling. And the men are like, what? Emotional maturity, what? Emotional intelligence, what? Like, how do I even know if I have that? And I've done videos, for example, and podcasts before, where men in the comment sections are just like, I don't even know what she's talking about. But that's the point. And I do my best to help women to understand that growth mindset can fill the gaps sometimes, but like at the end of the day, there is a considerable deficit. And why is this important? Because the Prophet, peace be upon him, he was one of the masters of emotional intelligence. It's a thing. He could see 18 different people and he would not even address them the same way on the same one core issue. He knew, well, this one's an orphan, so he needs to hear it like this. This one is a divorcee, so I better approach it like that. SubhanAllah, mashallah, Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he was such a beautiful example for us all. But the thing is, it never gets taught in the home, in the mosque. Where does this come from? It's not something that we can just do unless we've learned it for us. And let me tell you what it looks like if the guys don't have this. You can understand why it's so important. If they don't have it, they can't discuss things going on in relationships without getting angry or defensive. Women don't want that. I'm sure men don't want it with women either. They don't know how to handle their stress, and so they're super irritable to their families. Anybody seen this in their parents, their fathers in the past? Yeah, women are like, I don't want to go through that, you know? Understandably so. They expect their wives to manage everyone's emotions in the house, not him managing his own. He can be angry and scream and not handle things properly and leave, but her, she should be like this. Maybe they don't even know how to apologize or take accountability for anything they've done or how they've made other people feel. And they think like that's okay. Like, I'm a guy and that's what's going on. This is not from Islam, by the way. This is cultural. Maybe this is something that's happened over the years, but is a total emotional maturity deficit in men that women are struggling to marry them for. And the last one, number 3, the authenticity versus performance trap. Women are starting to reject marriages, and I told you, like, the deep things is they no longer want to save face in the community like, oh, you know, I'm gonna stay married for the sake of what everyone thinks. And people don't want to do that stuff anymore. They feel like, I want to feel better. Now, I'm gonna be honest here, back to the women, and say, I do feel there's some grit, and this is speaking from an older generation. There is some grit that is not the same as the younger generations, and that what I'll throw in there for myself. Because I feel like people don't want to stick stuff out anymore and people don't want to be uncomfortable. They just don't want to do it. It's the new culture now where we're so used to things being easy, from Amazon packages being delivered like that, right? Or I could just press a button on my phone and something will happen. It's that new thing that the generation now has become accustomed to. And unfortunately, it kind of creeps into relationships and it makes people think that relationship shouldn't be hard at all. I should be able to just do boop, boop, and that everything should be resolved. And that's something that isn't realistic and isn't how it happens. And so there's an expectation there that somehow creeps into this realm, and it makes it hard for people to stay in things that feel challenging. They want to leave because maybe there's something better out there. That's not how it works. You're going to leave one problem to get a different set of problems. I'm promising you. So this one is big. This is one of the underlying things I see most in relationships with women. Our sisters have watched too many other Muslim women turn themselves into a performance artist rather than just be married. Like in the past in their families, you couldn't just express genuine frustration. You couldn't actually talk about stuff. People just avoid uncomfortable conversations and don't actually have them. So there's no conflict resolution inside the family. It's the way they're raised. And they just don't want to have that in their new marriage. Maybe that's what happened in their homes. You know, people want to talk about stuff, people want this and that, but like they don't want to deal with that, right? They don't want to feel like they just should be grateful just for being married or just for having their husband. Like they want more to their life than that. And I've even seen marriages where women, because women call me, who are unmarried and married, right? Unmarried looking for marriage and married trying to figure out how to stay married because they're contemplating divorce or they just feel so horrible they can't do it anymore, right? And our sisters are saying, I just want to be loved for who I am, not praised for how well I can pretend to be someone else so that everybody's happy with us in the community, or I feel like, you know, his parents or my parents are like, they're just tired of performing in general. They just want to be. And a lot of them are feeling, I just want to be single and authentic and just do my thing instead of being married, which I also don't agree with. I'm just going to be frank because like we said in the beginning, it's because deeper things. And this is where I'm going to talk to you really real right now. A lot of women are avoiding marriage because they're afraid of all the things I'm talking about today. I don't want that to happen to me. And so I'm just going to push it off a little bit. But they're not going to say I'm going to push it off. They're going to say, I'm looking on the apps. But I'm also like not really trying. And it's not the time of day and age where you can just not try, guys. Women are not getting married who are not actively trying because people are in their homes sitting on their phones. People aren't out and about before like they used to be. So if you're not actively looking, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. And if you need help looking, that's literally what we do. We show you how to do it in a fraction of the time. I'm not a matchmaker. I don't believe in that because that leaves you vulnerable. And I could tell you about it if we do have a talk, but you definitely get left vulnerable with matchmakers. It's not all it's cracked up to be. It's a fantasy to think someone's just going to match you and do the work for you. That's not how it works, guys. It's not how it works. People get matched, but it's not always amazing. And just because your friend got matched, it didn't tell you what's really going on in the home, or your cousin, and they're all like, yay, it's great, it was all amazing. Doesn't mean it is. Doesn't mean it is. That's that performing again. Because now you already know, like, my life is actually really hard. You know what I'm saying? I told you I'd give you some hope. So here's the thing. I've worked with thousands of beautiful women who are very, very career driven or independent, and they're amazing and they have a lot going on for them. And they've refused to compromise on certain levels. And I get it. And I don't usually tell them to compromise. I tell them, nope, keep all that stuff right there. But let's talk about some other stuff that could be holding you back. A lot of women are stuck and they don't know why. A lot of them think they know what they want, but they're not super clear. Or once they are clear, they don't know how to connect between what they want and getting the guy that actually has that. There's this gap and they can't bridge it. But that's okay. That's why we're here. So what's the solution? How do we address this crisis? Well, for our sisters who are single, don't let anyone shame you for the standards that you have. Don't let anyone convince you that wanting a spiritual partnership or a guy that's growing or a guy that's like this is too much to ask for. It's not. You're trying to pick a quality guy. That's okay. At the same time, do your inner work. Be spiritually mature yourself. Be the guy you want to marry. If you want him religious, are you religious? If you want to be emotionally mature, are you emotionally mature? Okay, maybe you think you are. Great. But I want to let you know, we have an entirely free new live masterclass down below. If you're not sure how to take next steps on exactly what I'm talking about today, you're like, oh my gosh, that resonated, I get it, but what do I do? Go below. Totally free. It's all about how to attract a compatible guy within an incredibly short amount of time, because it's actually not hard at all. Everybody's overcomplicating it, making it hard. So what I'm basically saying is find a compatible guy and not compromise. Yep, it's totally possible. Ladies, we need to be more honest in our conversations. We need to actually fix this stuff instead of just avoiding it. And the reason Muslim women are not getting married is not because they don't want to. It's because it's way too complicated out there and there's so many things going on, exactly what I spoke about today. And if you feel stuck and like, oh my gosh, yes, I get it, but now what do? We got you. Like I said, link below, register for free. If you even want, we have 20-minute slots. I'll talk to you next one. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.